We have a really fun story time planned for today because we're going to be reading stories and doing rhymes from all over the world. Your parents may not know this, but on October 2nd, there's going to be a Culture Fest in Oxford, just around the corner from the library. At the Culture Fest, you can learn stories and eat food and appreciate all the different cultures that we have in our world and all the different languages that we speak not only in Oxford and in North Carolina, but in other states and other countries too. If your parents want more information about the Culture Fest, they can come to the library and we'll happily help them out. But for now, I want us to go ahead and let's start story time with our hello song. So go ahead, stand up, and take a dance with me, okay?
Hello, hello, can you clap your hands? Hello, hello,
Hello!
can you clap your hands? Can you stretch up high? Can you touch your toes? Can you turn around? Can you say hello?
Hello!
Hello, hello, can you stamp your feet? Hello, hello, can you stamp your feet? Can you stretch up high? Can you touch your toes? Can you turn around? Can you say hello?
Hello!
Hello, hello, can you clap your hands? Hello, hello, can you stamp your feet?
Good job! Now, of course, just like we always do at the beginning of story time, we're going to learn how to say today's theme in 2 different languages. Do you guys remember what those 2 languages are? You have Spanish and ASL, which is American Sign Language, because if you can't hear with your ears, you talk with your hands. So because we're going to be learning or reading stories from all over the world, our word that we're going to learn today is the word story. In American Sign Language, it's very easy. Hold your hands like this. We're going to put them in a circle 2 times like this. Can you do it with me? That is the word story in American Sign Language. Let's do it one more time. Very good. The word story in Spanish is also pretty simple. Historia. Can you guys say that? Historia. Good job. Now let's go on to our first story. For our first story, we're going to read The 12 Dancing Princesses, written and illustrated by Rachel Isadora. This story you might have heard a couple of times, but it's about 12 princesses who are sneaking out of the house at night to go dancing. Let's find out what happens. There once was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They slept each night in a locked room, but every morning their shoes were worn through as if they had danced all night. The king made it known that whoever discovered where the princesses went at night could choose a princess for his wife. If after 3 tries they failed, they would lose their life. Many tried and failed. One day, a soldier traveling on a road met an old woman. She asked where he was headed, and he told her that he was going to try and discover the secret of the princesses. "That is not difficult," she said, "but you must not drink the wine brought to you, and you must pretend to be asleep." She gave him the cloak. "With this, you will be invisible and can follow the princesses without being seen." She said goodbye and went on her way. The soldier went to the king and was led to a room attached to that of the princesses. He did not drink the wine that was brought to him, and he pretended to snore. When the princesses heard the soldier snore, they laughed quickly and got up and got dressed. Believing that the soldier was sound asleep, the eldest princess went to her bed and tapped it. Suddenly, it sank into the floor, and the princesses ran down a dark passageway. The soldier put on his cloak and followed. The youngest princess thought she heard someone following them. "Don't be silly. There is no one there," said the eldest. Soon the princesses reached a grove of trees with silver leaves. Then they came to one of gold leaves and one of diamond leaves. The soldier broke off a twig from each. What beautiful trees. They came to a lake where the 12 princesses were waiting in 12 boats. The invisible soldier sat in the boat with the youngest princess, and the prince wondered why it was difficult to row. Then they all reached the other side, where there was lights and music. Everyone danced under the twinkling stars. The princesses danced on and on until their shoes were danced through and they could dance no longer. The princes rowed them back to shore, where they all promised to meet the next night. The soldier ran ahead of the princesses. The soldier ran ahead, so the princesses found him sound asleep when they entered. He followed them the next 2 nights, and on the last night, he took a cup away with him. Uh-oh, it looks like someone's discovered the princess's secret. The time arrived for the soldier to speak with the king. "Where do my 12 daughters go at night?" the king asked. "To a place underground where they dance with 12 princes," the soldier replied. Then he told the king what he had seen and showed him the 3 branches in the cup. The king called for his daughters and asked if the soldier spoke the truth. Knowing that their secret had been discovered, they confessed. The soldier chose the eldest princess for his wife, as he was not very young. They were married that very day. And they rode away on an elephant. Not gonna lie, it'd be kind of cool. And everyone danced and danced all through the night. The end. The end. Great. Now that we've read the 12 Dancing Princesses, we're going to do a couple of rhymes that have to do with princesses. These aren't really rhymes that you might find in other countries, but they're still really fun to do. So I want you to stand on up, and we're going to pretend to be knights in shining armor, princes and princesses. Ready to go? Okay. Here is the knight with his feathered cap. Let's all bow. And here are his boots that go tap, tap, tap. Here is his dragon. Listen to him roar. Roar! And here are the dragon's wings that help him soar. Here is a prince or a princess with her shiny golden crown. And here is her sparkling blue ball gown. Good job. You want to do it one more time? Okay. Here is the knight with his feathered cap. And here are his boots that go tap, tap, tap. Here is his dragon. Listen to him roar. Roar! And here are his wings to help him soar. Here is the princess with her shiny golden crown. And here is her sparkling blue ball gown. Good job. All right, for this next rhyme, it's actually more of a story, but I want you to follow the same motions that I follow, okay? You might recognize you might recognize this story, but I think it's still gonna be fun. So, once upon a time, long ago, there was a princess. And she lived in a big high tower until a witch decided to cast a spell on her. Mwahaha! And she made the princess fall asleep for 100 years. During that time, a great big forest grew all around. Until one day, a prince came galloping by. He took out his sword and he cut down all the trees. Then he woke the princess with a magical kiss. Mwah. And everybody is happy! Hip hip hooray! Now let's go on to our next story. Our next story is admittedly one of my favorites. It is Why the Lion Roars. And it is from the Tinga Tinga Tales, which is based in a country called Tanzania on the continent of Africa. Tanzania is on the eastern side of Africa, and it is also the home of the tallest mountain on the continent of Africa, which is called Mount Kilimanjaro. I have actually seen Mount Kilimanjaro with my own eyes before, and it is very beautiful. So if you ever get a chance to go to the continent of Africa, you will want to see Mount Kilimanjaro. But for now, let's go ahead and read Why the Lion Roars. You see, there was a time when Lion didn't roar like a king. You could say that Lion had no roar. Jumbo Lion, what's all the noise at the water hole? Snap, leave me alone, snap. Crocodile is snapping at everyone again. I don't know what to do. Snap right back to him. You are the king of Tinga Tinga. Leave us alone, Crocodile, you bully, says the hippo. Stop snapping, says the elephant and monkey. Snap, 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 this is my water hole. Stop it, Crocodile. Crocodile, the water belongs to everybody, says the turtle. Lion didn't know what to do, so he talked to his tiny, tiny friend, Flea. Lion, you must do something, said Flea. But Crocodile won't listen to me, said Lion. No one ever listens to me, said Flea. That's because you are so tiny, Flea. But you are the king of Tinga Tinga. You must do something, said Flea. But Lion just sighed and did nothing. This is not nature's way, said Flea sadly. The king of the jungle, the king of all animals, the lion, is scared of the crocodile. All the animals gathered to talk to Lion. Your Majesty, said Tortoise, the animals need their waterhole back. You are our king, so you must stand up to Crocodile. Say something, Lion. Say you will, whispered Flea. I will, said Lion nervously. So Lion went back to the waterhole to talk to Crocodile. Crocodile, said Lion, the animals would like their waterhole back. I think it's time you played fair, don't you? And how are you going to make me do that, said Crocodile. You have to roar, Lion, whispered Flea. Now is the time to roar. So Lion cleared his throat and took a deep breath, but nothing came out. Lost for words, are we, Lion? Sneered Crocodile. I've got a bigger roar than that, laughed Lizard. Looks like I'm here to stay, said Crocodile. Man, Crocodile isn't being very nice, is he? Lion was so ashamed that he went far, far away from all the animals. Let's face it, Flea, I'm not a born king. I don't roar like a king, and I don't sound like a king. That's because you have to feel like a king before you can sound like one, said Flea. Look at me. I'm tiny on the outside, but I feel really big on the inside. And I can do really big things. Like somersaults, and hop, and roar, roar. But I don't have a roar, said Lion sadly. I know how you can find your roar, said Flea, in the great cave of Tinga Tinga. Come on. So Lion and Flea went all the way to the great cave of Tinga Tinga. But no beast has ever dared to set foot in there, said Lion. Lion, you were born king of Tinga Tinga, and you must stay king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? I am king of Tinga Tinga, said Lion in a tiny voice. Then tell that to the great cave, said Flea, and find your roar. Oh no, what's going to happen? So Lion stepped into the great cave and said, I am king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? I am king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? Answered a big voice. Lion decided to be very brave. He stepped further into the cave and answered the big voice. I am king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? I am king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? Came back an even bigger voice. Suddenly, Lion heard a little voice. Bat? Said Lion. Is that you? Stop it. Please stop roaring. You are scaring me, said Bat. Your roar is very, very loud. And so is your echo. My echo, said Lion. Yes, they're both you. You roar and your roar echo roars back. I have found my roar. Roar! So Lion made his way back to the water hole where Crocodile still wouldn't let any of the animals into the water. Mamba, Crocodile, I command you to share the water hole with all the animals. Snap, snap. How are you going to make me do that? Lion took a deep breath. I am king of Tinga Tinga. Who are you? Roar! Crocodile was so frightened that he ran away, and all the animals happily jumped into the water. Lion is king! Caribou, welcome to your water hole, roared Lion. Ha ha, look at Crocodile, look at the crocodile run! The king of Tinga Tinga is back. From that day on, Lion ruled over Tinga Tinga, and he only used his big scary roar when he absolutely had to. And that is why lions roar. The end. All right, once again, it's time to practice our counting. So I want you to count the number of nights that I put on this board, okay? We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 little knights, fearless and brave. They went dragon hunting deep in a cave. But then the dragon started breathing fire, and all the knights' knees were a quiver, till one little knight went off to the river. So now, how many knights do we have left? Let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 little knights, fearless and brave, went dragon hunting deep in a cave, until the dragon started breathing fire and the knights' knees were all a quiver, so one little knight went off to the river. So now, how many knights do we have left? 1, 2, 3. Very good. We have 3 little knights, fearless and brave. They went dragon hunting deep in a cave, until the dragon started breathing fire and the knights' knees were all a quiver, so one little knight went off to the river. So now we have 1, 2. 2 little knights, fearless and brave, went dragon hunting deep in a cave, until the dragon started breathing fire and the knights' knees were all a quiver, so one little knight went off to the river. Oh man, her knights are running away really fast, aren't they? Because now, how many knights do you see left on this board? Yep, just one. One little knight, still fearless and brave. He still went dragon hunting deep in a cave, but then the dragon started breathing fire and this knight's knees were all a quiver, and so he went off to the river. So this time, I guess, the dragon won. But before we go on to our next story, I have some other rhymes here. The stories we're reading today are from different countries, but here we actually also have rhymes that that people have been telling for hundreds of years. I'm gonna see if you guys know some of these rhymes, okay? So, let's see here. We have, our first rhyme is, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. You want to hear the rhyme again? Okay. We have, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. That's one rhyme that we tell a lot. Let's do another one. Let's see here. The next two rhymes actually come from a country called England, which is on the other side of the ocean. But we tell these rhymes a lot here in America too. First we have, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Then Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Oh no. Let's do the rhyme one more time. We have, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Then Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Our last rhyme is also told in the country of England, but once again, just like Hey Diddle Diddle and Jack and Jill, this rhyme is also very common here in America. We have, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, but then Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Let's do this one more time. Humpty Dumpty, actually hold on, let me make this higher. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Then all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Oh no. Let's go on to our next story. For our last story, we're going to read Djibouti the Tortoise, a trickster tale from the Amazon. If you don't know where the Amazon is on a continent called South America in a country called Brazil. Brazil is probably, I think, the biggest country on the continent South America, and the Amazon is one of the biggest rainforests in all the world. There's thousands of animals and plants in the Amazon, even some animals and insects and plants that scientists haven't even discovered yet. This book is written and illustrated by Gerald McDermott. Djibouti the tortoise played a song on his flute. His shell was smooth and shiny, and his song was sweet. His music wove through the tangled vines and floated above the treetops. All the creatures of the rainforest listened to his song. For some, Djibouti's song was sour. Jaguar could remember when Djibouti tricked him into chasing his own tail. Lizard could remember when Djibouti tricked him into giving Djibouti a ride on his back. Tapir could remember when Djibouti tricked him into a tug-of-war with Whale. But the birds of the air loved Djibouti's music, and they sang while he played. All creatures all birds except Vulture, who could not sing at all. He was jealous of Djibouti and waited for the day when he could eat the little tortoise. Oh my. There came a time when all the birds of the air were invited to a festival in heaven. The King of Heaven called them together to sing, to rejoice, and to receive his blessing. When Djibouti saw the great gathering of the birds, he wanted to go too. I want to play my flute for the King of Heaven, he said. Vulture laughed at him. I may not be able to make music like you, said Vulture, but I can spread my wings and soar all the way to heaven. Take me with you, Djibouti pleaded. Vulture saw his chance. Come on my back, little friend, he said. Oh no. Vulture spread his dark wings and rose up in the air. Djibouti held tight to Vulture's feathers as they flew high above the treetops. The dense forest and the great river stretched far below. The Great River is the Amazon River, and it flows through the Amazon rainforest. They had almost reached heaven when Vulture suddenly swooped and turned upside down. Djibouti lost hold of Vulture's feathers and slipped off his back. Djibouti went tumbling down into the sky. The earth came rushing toward him, and he cried out, "Twigs and bushes, flowers and trees, move aside, make way for me!" All the plants and trees of the forest spread apart to make way for Djibouti, but he had forgotten to call to the rock. Djibouti came down on it with a crack, and his smooth, shiny shell broke into pieces. Aw, poor shell. It broke. At that moment, the music of the festival in heaven stopped, and the King of Heaven looked down and saw Vulture joining the other birds. "Where is Djibouti?" asked the King of Heaven. Vulture shrugged. "How would I know?" he answered. "Djibouti wanted to play for me, and you offered to bring him here," said the King of Heaven sternly. "Tell me where he is." Vulture turned away from the King of Heaven and hid his head beneath his wing. The King of Heaven commanded the birds to search for Djibouti. The birds filled the sky, flying over the treetops, swooping low through the tangled vines, and looking for the little tortoise. Do you guys see Djibouti? Where do you think he is? Oh, found him. He's right there. Toucan, macaw, and hummingbird found Djibouti. He was lying helplessly in the forest. His beautiful shell was broken. The birds gathered the pieces and patched him together. When they were done, Djibouti played a song of thanks for them. And where the birds had touched Djibouti, they each took on a new color. Toucan got a red and yellow beak, macaw bright orange feathers, and hummingbird an emerald green belly. Vulture stayed the same dull color. He still can't sing. And look, Djibouti's shell now looks like a tortoise shell that we see today. Djibouti the tortoise played on his flute. His music weaves through the tangled vines and floats above the treetops. His shell may be cracked and patched, but the song is sweet, at least the song. The end. Wow, didn't we have such a fun story time today? Let's see, we read stories from the continent of Africa and from the Amazon, which is in South America. We got to practice our counting, and you guys are getting really good at counting, by the way. We pretended to be knights in shining armor, beautiful princesses and handsome princes. We even got to hear some rhymes that were told in England, which once again is across the ocean, but are very common here in our own backyard in America. But even though we've had so much fun, I think it's time we've got to go. So stand up and we'll do our goodbye song together, okay? So, I think it's time we've got to go. So wave your elbows and wave your toes. Wave your knees and wave your lips. Blow me a kiss from your fingertips. Mwah. Wave your ears and wave your hair. Wave your hips and wave your derriere. Wave your fingers way up high and wave a hand to say goodbye. Bye everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for story time today, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye!